welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this Game 6 World Series MLB Showdown slate on Draftkings and Fanduel. Excited to get into it. This one should be a good one. Going to give you guys the best plays to get you in that green, winning some money. Of course, on the biggest stage in the world, the World Series. So it should be a fun game to watch. Should be even more fun when you're winning some money. So if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. And if you are further interested in some other sports, I do cover NBA DFS and NFL DFS. I do offer premium packages. That'll be linked below in the description. I offer an MLB DFS premium package as well. Obviously, the season's winding down, but check it out. And let's go ahead and get into this one today. So as always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by K rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. And the top guy on this slate is going to be Luis Garcia as far as K rate is concerned. He comes in with a 26.4% K overall with a 13.4% swing strike rate. A 29% K rate against righties and a 23.7% K rate against lefties. Luis Garcia, very good against right-handed hitting, not so good against left-handed hitting. And he does give up quite a bit of fly balls to both sides of the plate. But specifically against lefties, that 36.7% fly ball rate with a 348 woba and a 474 slugging is really going to stand out to us. So we're going to have a lot of interest in targeting him with left-handed hitters on this one. And then as far as Mr. Max Fried's concerned, he comes in with a 23.7% K overall with an 11.1 swinging strike rate. Good ground ball, fly ball stuff, good hard contact stuff. Only a 334 slugging given up to righties and a 409 slugging up to lefties. And like I said, really good hard contact stuff to both sides. Really good ground ball, fly ball stuff to both sides, and really his only weakness is he doesn't strike out that many right-handed hitters. So Max Fried, not exactly the best performance early on in this series, and the one thing that he is going to have to face is the fact that the Astros just really don't strike out, especially against left-handed pitching, and specifically looking at the statistics on the season for Houston. They are the #1 overall team as far as not striking out against left-handed pitching. They also fared very well as far as WOBA, ISO, slugging, BABIP, fly ball, all of the above. So Houston, not exactly the best team to be facing against left-handed pitching. Or not the best matchup for Max Fried. Then when you factor in as far as Atlanta's concerned, for their K rate, they do strike out quite a bit. You can see on my sheet here, they are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th most strikeouts in their bats as far as right-handed pitching. However, they do have a 195 ISO, 440 slugging, 291 BABIP, and a 39.2% fly ball rate against those right-handed pitchers. So, obviously, it's the World Series. It's the best of the best. This game, as far as the Vegas lines are concerned, comes in with a 4.68 implied run total for the Houston Astros, a 4.32 implied total for the Atlanta Braves. Astros are favored in this one as 126 favorites. And as far as the game environment in this one, this game is going to be played in Houston. So as far as the ballpark's concerned and the dynamics here, we're looking at Minute Maid Park down that left field line. I talked about this earlier in the series. We do really like targeting that left field line down the short left field porch. You can target it. It's a lot shorter, friendly for home runs, friendly for triples, etc. Not quite as friendly out there towards right center. It's a lot deeper in the gap. And then as we work our way over to right field, it's not the most terrible environment in the world, but not nearly as friendly down that left field line. So we really like to target some pull hitters in this field, down that left field line. All right, and then as far as bullpen data is concerned, the Houston Astros definitely do have an advantage as far as their bullpen's concerned. I have my sheet sorted by hard contact rate. Houston Astros are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th best team overall against hard contact. Their bullpen's pretty good across the board. Then you go down to Atlanta, they're not so good out of the bullpen. So definitely an advantage to be had from Houston out of the bullpen as well. And digging into the starting pitchers and what they throw here. So Max Fried, Mr. Max Fried, what does he like to go to? Taking on these Houston hitters, looking at his repertoire, he really likes to go to the fastball, slider, curveball combination. He'll go to the fastball about 40% of the time, the slider about 20% of the time, the curveball about 20% of the time. And that's mainly his repertoire. So as far as guys that really hit the fastball well, 92 to 93 mile an hour fastball up to 94. As far as guys that hit that well, you're looking at Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez as the main two candidates off left-handed hitting, and then you also have Marty Maldonado at the bottom of the lineup. So Jose Altuve Going to be my favorite option by far as off that fastball against left-handed pitching. Really going to like him in this spot. And like I said, Yordan Alvarez, lefty on lefty, could be an intriguing play, especially if his ownership is going to be low because it's a left-handed hitter taking on a left-handed pitcher. If you're able to get him lower owned than we typically would see, might be able to pay off for you in tournaments. So Yordan Alvarez, I have no issues with you playing him. And Martin Maldonado could also be a sneaky play at the bottom of the lineup. Not a lot of people like to play those catchers, so he's another guy that is an intriguing play as far as off the fastball against left-handed pitching. And then the slider, as far as who rakes that really well. Off left-handed pitching, you're looking to Yordan Alvarez once again. Yulieski Gurriel hits it very well, and Alex Bregman hits it very well, as Jose Altuve. So Jose Altuve 2 for 2 so far on how he hits those pitches. And then, like I said, Yordan Alvarez, he's 2 for 2. And Yulieski Gurriel and Alex Bregman really hit the slider well off of left-handed pitching. Specifically, Alex Bregman, he absolutely rakes that pitch off left-handed pitching. So certainly going to have some interest in targeting him off that slider. And lastly, the curveball as far as who fares well against that pitch. On this Astros squad, you're really looking at Yulieski Gurriel, Kyle Tucker, and Alex Bregman. So Yulieski Gurriel, very, very good against Max Fried's secondary pitches and a very good hitter overall. So he's the other guy, we're looking to lock into. Alex Bregman, very good off the secondary pitches, and then Kyle Tucker, lefty on lefty, is good against the curveball only, but maybe a sneaky play. As far as Luis Garcia, we talked about his splits, how he's a lot worse against left-handed hitting. So, of course, that's going to stand off the page right away as far as who we're looking to target. 474 slugging, 348 WOBA. Those numbers are very, very bad against left-handed hitting. So, yeah, we're going to definitely have some interest in some Atlanta Braves lefties here. And most notably, looking at his repertoire, 92, 93, 94 mile-an-hour fastball. Once again, you're looking at Eddie Rosario, Freddie Freeman, Jock Peterson, and really this whole entire lineup. The entire Braves lineup hits the fastball very, very well. Luis Garcia goes to the fastball about 50% of the time. Against righties, he likes to go to the slider-cutter combination. Against lefties, he likes to go to the change-up curveball combination. So as far as the righties and how they fare against the slider, let's see. The number one guy against the sliders, well, there's a couple here. It's really going to be Austin Riley and Jorge Soler right in the middle of this lineup. So those two guys would be the guys that I'm looking to, target in this one as far as their ability to hit that slider for the right-handed side of the plate. And then as far as the cutter is concerned, from the right-hand side of the plate, it's going to be Jorge Soler mainly. Jorge Soler and Adam Duvall. Adam Duvall and Jorge Soler both absolutely mashed that pitch. So both of those guys going to be intriguing plays against that cutter. And then for the left-handed side of the plate, the side that we had mentioned he really struggles against. We talked about the fastball. I mean, the whole entire lineup really hits that well. And then it's going to be the change-up curveball combination. As far as who hits that well from the left-handed side of the plate, honestly, no one really hits the changeup all that well from the left-hand side of the plate, but then when you're looking at the curveball as far as how they fare against that pitch, Freddie Freeman absolutely mashes the curveball. Jock Peterson absolutely mashes the curveball. Eddie Rosario absolutely mashes the curveball. And like I said, the bottom line is this guy's just really not good against left-handed hitting, so we're going to have interest. We have to have interest here, and those are the guys that I'm looking to target. Mr. Freeman, Mr. Rosario, and Mr. Jock Peterson in this game for sure. One other thing to keep in mind on these showdown slates, you can go to the bullpens if you'd like to get some salary relief in. The easiest play, honestly, if the game stays close, is most likely the closers are going to come in. So in this case, on the Houston Astros, it would be Ryan Presley. So you can go over to DraftKings, uncheck the remove non-probables, type in Mr. Presley's name here, and you can see he's only 6K. So if he comes in the game, he gets 3 strikeouts on an inning pitched, and no one else really does much via the bats. We have a good pitching duel. That could be a good way to be targeting him. Honestly, I'm not that interested. So I said this in the first game with Luis Garcia on the Houston Astros. He went out there and pitched a very effective game. 6 strikeouts, 1 earned run, 3.2 innings pitched. I said I wasn't really interested in him in that game. And the same thing kind of remains true here. I mean, the fact of the matter is he does have a pretty high K rate overall, the 26.4% K rate, and 29% K rate against righties. The K rate really does spike against righties, and the Braves do have some strikeouts in their bats. We've talked about that, so he definitely does have some upside. That fact remains, but also the fact remains is the Braves were a really good fastball hitting team, and he goes to the fastball pretty frequently, and for that reason, they're a little scary. The strikeouts are there, but I can see a scenario where he just gets absolutely blown up, and for that reason, like, I'd much rather be on the Braves' bats. The only other thing I'd mention is Ozzie Albies. He hits on the left-hand side of the plate. He has steal upside. He can hit the fastball very well, and he's a guy we didn't talk about as far as the secondary pitches, but Ozzie Albies certainly is going to be in play. And with that being said, let's go ahead and build a lineup here on Draftkings specifically first, and then we'll go over to Fanduel. So on Draftkings, you have to have a guy in the captain spot. Obviously, you want the highest scoring guy in your captain spot ideally, but also on Draftkings, the salary does inflate a little bit when you play them in your captain spot, so you kind of have to factor that in a little bit to your decision process here. But looking at some of the guys that we liked, we talked about how he struggles against lefties, that being Luis Garcia. So I'd say let's go ahead and get some salary relief here. Eddie Rosario at the top. He's 8'7". He's expected to hit the leadoff spot in this one. He profiles very well, and you get salary relief, and then you're able to load up the rest of your lineup. So I think Rosario makes a lot of sense as a captain play in this one. So Jock Peterson we talked about. We talked about playing Freddie Freeman. We talked about liking Jose Altuve a lot on the right-hand side of the plate. We talked about liking Alex Bregman against Max Fried's secondary pitchers. That leaves us with about 5-3. Then you can fill out your lineup from there. If there's anyone that's cheap enough to fill in, it looks like that might be a bit of an issue here. So maybe going down from an Alex Bregman to another guy that we like, Yulieski Gurriel. We talked about him being good against secondary pitches, and then you can round out your lineups there, even if that's too cheap. I'm sorry, if that's too expensive. I mean, we might have to take out either Freddie Freeman or Jose Altuve in this lineup. For correlation's sake, let's take out Altuve and kind of stack up this Braves side. Go down to a secondary guy we like a Bregman, maybe a Gurriel. 7-8, that leaves us with enough room for Soler, Dansby Swanson, Adam Duvall, Michael Brantley, Travis d'Arnaud, and we can kind of fill out our lineups from there. You could also, like I said, throw in a pitcher. My favorite probably would be Max Fried from like a longevity aspect, but Luis Garcia from a strikeout upside aspect, so you kind of have to figure out who you like the most on that aspect, but that's kind of where my head would be at on the build on Draftkings. And then going over to Fanduel here. So Fanduel, a bit of a different build. There's no pitching involved. It's MVP, star slot, utility, utility. MVP, you get double the points. Star, you get 1.5x times the points. And then the utility, you get the 3 standard points that those players score. So obviously the strategy is put the guy that has the highest scoring game in your MVP slot, the second in the star slot, and then the 3 following. So we'll put, let's see, in the MVP slot, we'll go with Freddie Freeman. Those lefty splits against Luis Garcia we talked about liking. Jose Altuve we liked a lot in the star slot. That's going to leave us about 5,800 per position. We can throw in some guys that we like down here. Yulieski Gurriel, Eddie Rosario. That's going to leave us with 4,500. That's enough to fit in Martin Maldonado. Or we could maybe go down to, a different guy instead of Altuve and have more salary relief. Maybe like a Jorge Soler in the star slot. That leaves you with 7K. You play an Alex Bregman or an Austin Riley, who we both talked about liking. So FanDuel, the lineup build is pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy, to be honest, and that's my approach in that one. And so that is my overall breakdown for this Game 6 MLB World Series Showdown slate. If you did enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight in this Game 6 Showdown slate, and we will see you in the next one.